Hello, everyone. Helen Yu here at Conga Connect. We're in Orlando, Florida. I'm here with Lisa Martin, who is Chief Revenue Officer of Conga. Hello, Lisa. Such a pleasure meeting you.
Helen, thanks for having me. It's
Yeah.
thrilled to be here today.
Likewise, we're going to have a deeper dive on commerce chain today. But before we do that, Lisa, why don't you introduce yourself, your role at Conga, and tell us what Conga does and who it serves.
Absolutely. So, my name is Lisa Martin, Chief Revenue Officer at Conga. I joined the organization just in November, but I'm a former CRO and 20 years in sales and revenue organizations, managing sales organizations, customer success, pre-sales, partner organizations, and came to Conga because Conga's focused on helping companies execute on their revenue life cycle. So when you think about from pricing strategy to quoting to being able to execute on deals, get contracts in place, and then renew those customers, that full life cycle that many of us in sales have lived our entire career is what Conga's focused on. We as an organization serve enterprises from Fortune 50, 100, 500, all the way down to companies who are $100 million organizations.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
My first Congo Connect as well, I've walked away so much information today from the keynote. So we heard so much about commerce chain. Tell us what exactly that is and then why it so matters to customers right now.
Absolutely. So when you think about commerce chain, it is that there's so many touch points in driving revenue for an organization. And it starts with people who are establishing what the pricing strategy should be and how do you execute upon that pricing strategy. How do you make it easy for your sellers to then quote and generate an accurate quote for your sales team and their end customer? And how do you make it easy for that quote then to turn into an order and a contract that you can execute against and really drive the continuity of that and look at that as a single work stream versus looking at them as individual elements of an organization's revenue motion?
Being a former chief customer officer, right, I know the deals are not going smoothly oftentimes, but hearing today, 93% business having, saying that their deals are not smooth, that was a shocking.
That's shocking.
To me. But, when you put that number in front of
Yeah.
CRO and CFO in the room, what happens?
I think so from a CRO perspective, and I have, both in my current role and in my journey to get here, interacted with a lot of sales leaders and chief revenue officers and CFOs. I don't think it surprises CROs, candidly. It's a big number, but every single CRO that I talk to is talking about how do they make their sellers' lives easier when it comes to quoting? How do they ensure that less deals go to deal desk for review? How do they drive pricing direction for the seller? A lot of organizations see this, many of those things happening. And I think that we're in a time right now where the economy's changed. There's a lot of economic uncertainty. And candidly, we were always focused for so many years on top line growth. And now it's not growth at all costs. It's growth, but profitable growth. And as revenue officers are getting more pressure to execute against that, the thing that's getting inspected is how are we to do business with? How do we make it easy for companies to do business with us? And that's where Conga comes in.
I love that mindset, right? That's so important, especially from CRO perspective. Oh, by the way, congratulations on the acquisition with Pros.
Oh, thank you.
So with the completion of acquisition, is that kind of moment finally with commerce chain clicks into place for you?
Oh, absolutely. And this was happening before I joined the organization, but when I heard about who we were actually looking to acquire after I had joined, I was ecstatic because the complement between Pros and Conga is so apparent. Conga's core competencies lied in CPQ, CLM, and doc automation. And Pros has this amazing pricing optimization and management solution, and a CPQ solution that is different than Conga's CPQ in that it serves different use cases in different vertical industries than Conga did. So as we bring these two organizations together, there's such strong complement, and it really allows us as an organization to be the only one in the market that can deliver on that end-to-end commerce chain
You know,
journey.
that chart imprinted with me, right?
Yeah.
You have the CBQQ and then pricing, and then you have CLM, and then you have the document automation, right? But one thing that really stood out to me was the announcement, introduction of Amy today.
Oh,
I've met
yes.
a lot of
Yeah.
amazing
Yep.
Amy in my career, but this one is special.
Yeah.
Tell us
Yeah.
more about what it does and then how it helps suit, the entire commerce chain.
Absolutely. So Amy is our AI branding. It's spelled AIME, very intentional there. But Amy for us has been a journey that we've been on for the last year to really be intentional about how we put AI in our product natively. And then how do we create an environment where you can bring your own as well. And what we really started to see was that a lot of organizations took a very horizontal approach to AI, where it was kind of here's what you can do with AI, you go figure out how you apply it. And we're being very intentional about looking at it on a persona level. So the needs of somebody who's a revenue operations person versus a sales leader versus a CFO versus a chief legal officer is very different. And making sure that we are capitalizing on giving value in use cases that are relevant to each persona across the entire portfolio.
Yeah, that's amazing, right? And I see the demonstration today by function,
Yeah.
by persona. It was fascinating to see how effective it is.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
kudos to
Yeah,
that.
we're excited about
Yeah.
it.
So if I am a company,
Yeah.
I'm all in, I'm sold, I'm all in with Commerce Chain. How does success look like 12 months from now from CRO perspective?
Yeah, absolutely. From a CRO perspective, there's really two things that I see that we see consistently with our customers that start this journey with us. One is the deal velocity and volume gets greater. That is music to every CRO's ears. If you can start to accelerate deal cycle. The other thing that you start to see is as you are on this journey with us, being able to have end-to-end insight from pricing all the way through and being able to understand your customers, meaning I've sold at this price based on a volume discount. And when we get to contract renewal, that's really when you first discover often that somebody hasn't met their obligation. The intent with this kind of end-to-end view is that we should be able to alert you earlier on in that customer life cycle that they're not meeting their expectation, or that maybe there's an upsell or cross-sell opportunity based on what's happening with that customer. So those are the types of things that we're really driving. The other thing that I think is really important that's coming up a lot is revenue leakage. When chief revenue officers look at how discounts are applied, and a lot of organizations struggle with this, it's very much a retrospective on a previous quarter or half a year, fiscal year, on where did we end on our discounting, and you get this lovely scattergram, and that's not helpful. So understanding in the moment where you are actually discounting where you shouldn't, or maybe incentives that would help you get a deal based on historicals and things of that nature. Those are really the big impacts that you see from a revenue officer
Well, those
perspective.
impacts speak the volume.
Oh,
right?
all the way up to the board. They love to see those.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, where is commerce chain going? And then for those companies still sitting on disconnecting processes, what's the cost of waiting?
Yeah, yeah. When we think about commerce chain, my vision for, if we're sitting here 2 years from now, is that someone in my role or CFO's role or chief legal officer's role uh, doesn't have to go in and inquire and interrogate and search the data to get the answers. what should happen with Commerce Chain is that we have a common data layer throughout the entire portfolio. You are able to use that, and we should be able to serve up to you proactively, hey, Lisa, you should go execute on this renewal in this fashion, or Lisa, you should be quoting in this fashion instead of me having to ask it. So having that proactive nature is really where this is going to go. And those agentic experiences will get smarter and faster and more robust. And then it will be actionable where there will be things that you'll be able to program into the portfolio, into the solution that actually will take an action based on rules that you establish, so that those agents can become actual, parts of the team.
So you, as a CRO, in a sense, can remote control the business.
Absolutely.
Right? Can really take a vacation rather
Carefully.
You know what I heard from
Yeah.
you? This is so impactful, right? One CPQ, pricing optimization, CLM, and the document automation all connected with AI. This build a continuous motion for for the commerce chain, so business can really accelerate to become more intelligent and more connected business.
Absolutely. And really drive revenue faster.
Yeah.
And it's new revenue and retention of the revenue.